Welcome to the Jaded and Faded Convos. I am your host, Jaded Pearl, and I got some shit to say. Alright, so we are at the episode that calls for conversations about confidence. Confidence. What is confidence and how can I destroy yours? Um, Real shit. So I say about destroying yours is because we live in a world where confidence is almost this special thing that you have to have a certain look in order for confidence to live in, as opposed to you having a opposite of the societal look and you still have confidence, and to some people's minds they don't make sense to go together. And I have my tidbits. I have, of course, my experiences with it, ranging from the first time I ever really even understood confidence as opposed to self-consciousness, and a plethora of other experiences, as well as many people that are listening, watching, or just in existing, or just existing in this world, have experienced at one point or another. Now, today, probably the next week or two, online, in person, at your mama house, within, of course, the scope of your friends, all types, as well as what confidence has meant for me as a dancer, as a performer. So, we're gonna go ahead and get into it. But first, I usually do this at the end because, again, I'm still learning to have to be that social media girly. So, if you are on Spotify, thank you for listening, and be sure to follow Jaded and Faded Combos from there. And if you are watching me, what do I say? How do I be saying it? Oh, to please like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, that's what they be doing. Um, Jaded and Faded flows with Jada Pearl. Same thing when it comes to the podcast of Convos. It's all here. Just Jaded and Faded flows is the umbrella. So it is me. And welcome. And before I do get into anything further, for the faded portion of Jaded and Faded, I like to honor that part when it comes to health and wellness, whether that is, of course, sexual health, that is your aphrodisiacs of some sorts, when it comes to microdosing, your CBD, your varieties of THC. If you are a business that has any of those things that I mentioned, so definitely going into sex health, candles, toys, lubricants, things of that nature, along with everything else that I mentioned. And you would like to, of course, collab as far as promoting and such, send me a DM, send me an inbox, an email for that matter, and let's talk. Let's see. Just because that part is very important to that part is very important for me to want to establish that connection when it comes to the faded part. And those things I honor when it comes to me as a whole. So bring it on in so I can see what you're talking about. But there's that. Okay. So confidence. Confidence. That's a very, very special word when it comes to the weight that it carries. And I don't mean on a body, but people love to connect the two as if that matters. Even I, at one point, I made that matter on a different level, and I will get into what I mean by that. There's a different type of confidence that lives in someone who is plus size. Keep in mind, confidence is not size exclusive at all. And what has happened with the word confidence is that it has become a compliment but more so backhanded in most spaces, unfortunately, when you're speaking in the context of someone who is plus size and them just simply existing. Whatever context that may be on, it's always coming off as, oh my God, I'm surprised that you are this confident because of your size. And I'm here to tell you, I've been confident regardless. This size 30 pounds ago, this size 100 pounds ago. I just be confident. And my confidence does not lie within just my body. My confidence comes from a place of how I want to show up in the world, how I like being able to come into a space and say, I'm here. It doesn't have to revolve around just my sensuality or my sexuality for that matter, or what I'm wearing at that time, or me being on the pole or off the pole. It's just simply existing in this skin that I'm in wholeheartedly. That's really what it boils down to. And for a lot of people, it's one of those things where some believe, they have to be taught how to, of course, gain confidence. Then you have some that's just like, it just is what it is for them. I like to think, for me, it's been one of those things where I wasn't aware of it until someone sort of made me aware of it. And I say that from a place of, yeah, you just kind of, exist, and you take pride in things that matter to you when it comes to your appearance, how you talk with people, how people gravitate to you, the social skills, the vibes that you'll put off with folks when you're in settings and such. And you just come alive in a way that can actually lift people up. I've been in those spaces where, yeah, you know, I like to, of course, be of joy. I like to be of love. I like to be of this awesomeness and to hopefully be around people who want to do the same. And that in itself can give a way of confidence because I don't have to think about it. I don't have to kind of construct, okay, well, how do I do this and how do I appear this way type thing. Don't get me wrong. I've been very much self-conscious, which is way different than confidence. But the thing is that they both can coexist. Meaning, I can be in a space where I'm walking confidently. However, if my belly, for me, hear me when I say for me, if my belly is out and protruding in a certain way, I'm already thinking of, okay, what do I do to try to make it flattering? What do I do? How can I wear this? I'm thinking about all of that while still walking confidently with the thing that I'm self-conscious about, if that makes sense. And the reason being is because confidence does not exclude insecurities. You know what I mean? Insecurity is from a place of like, oh gosh, okay, I got my arms, I need to be able to, you know, cover them up. Or, okay, my thighs, geez, I feel like I need to wear Spanx. I need to be able to kind of smooth out things. It just feels all this. Back fat, big one. Oh my God, I need to be able to cover them. I need to do this, da da da. And I'm gonna still have all of these things while I still have this body as I do currently. But I'm going to walk into this space with the appeal that I have as if nothing bothers me. I'm going to still put on a show of some sort that's going to be as if all of this is a vibe. And it still is, essentially. But it is those things that I know that I have some level of sensitivity about. Because I'm sensitive about my shit as well as, of course, my temple. But that's a me thing. But to understand that when it comes down to confidence, it can go for anybody, any and everybody. So let me kind of go back to how it has shaped my journey when it comes to confidence. going into the conversation of self-consciousness versus confidence. So when it comes to self-consciousness, is one of those things where you'll have these beliefs and thoughts that you don't realize have been embedded into your existence to the point where you're not aware of it. For example, um, like most girls that grew up in families where you may have been the plus size girl. You weren't the plus size person, you were just a plus size girl. Meaning there are other plus size bodies in your house that are boys. You don't put too much emphasis on the boys per se, but you definitely do when it's a girl. And that was, my story. Was around women that had a lot of insecurities within themselves that they, in some ways, intertwined within me. For example, God rest their souls, my mother, my aunt, and my grandmother. Love them to death. Um, my mom, she was pretty. And after she had my brother, it was one of those things where, you pick up weight and such after the first child, then a second, and then your third. And that level of confidence in some ways for her was kind of like on the up and down, so to speak. But when it came to how she appeared in the world, she made sure, of course, her hair was done. She made sure she looked presentable. She smelled nice. She was a joy to be around, on the clock, off the clock, mom mode, bartender mode. It was just one of those things that she had about herself that people gravitated towards. Even to this day, I got friends from middle school and high school was like, man, your mama was fine. Like, and I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't a conversation that was had to say, hey, this is how you can learn to be more confident, or this is how you can ignore people when they say things or assume things about you because you are a considered fat girl or chubby girl. It was never one of those conversations I really had with her in that sense. I always would talk about, somebody's picking on me, everybody's doing this, and her response was, oh, they just probably like you and that's why. And I'm just like, as a grown adult in this age, I'm like, there's nothing cute about that shit at all, to like somebody and to traumatize them at the same time. It's crazy as fuck. Crazy ass thought, actually. But that was that. But it was never so much a situation where she's pushing insecurities on me. She just knew she recognized things within herself and she wouldn't necessarily like push them on her kids in that way. However, her sister, love her to death, she had a lot of those. And it came from parts of the family that had this way of nitpicking things about a person. And then, of course, if you don't know to have a defense for yourself, what you're going to do is do the nitpicking when you get to a certain age with people, especially closest to you. And it was one of those things where it kind of slips in and out from time to time where I'll have these thought processes of what they would say as far as, oh, well, of course, my government, she's, getting bigger and she wears this size shoe and this size pants and, her chest, of course, is growing again, this, that, and the third. You know how to do. It's nitpicking just because you are a girl and then because you are a black girl and then you are a black girl who is chubby. It's a whole lot that you want to be able to, poke holes in just because. So that played a big part in me. Keep in mind, all of them also plus size too, by the way. But we have to, of course, continue that rhetoric of you need to make this change, but yet ain't nobody having a conversation of how do we make the changes. You need to do the things, but we not gonna tell you how to get there. So that was a lot of that. Then when it came to my grandma, hers was mostly, I don't know what it is about older people jokingly saying, "You ugly." I don't know if it had anything to do with color purple or some shit that was happening way before that. I'm pretty sure, considering when the book was written, you know, and all the things and stuff when the movie came out and all that. But it would be one of those things she would do jokingly. More so later on in her last few years, for sure. And she would always say, in a loving way, "Oh, I'm just playing." And granted, it is those little connections that you'll have with your family in that sense that is considered playful. It sometimes doesn't do so well when they go into adult age and they still probably have this in the back of their head thinking about themselves in this way, and to realize, like, oh, do I really think of myself like this? Or, oh, do I move this way because of this? It's so subconscious to you to the point where it's like, I don't even realize I'm doing it, by the way that you'll dress, the way that you'll appear in a room, a way that you'll have to, like, put your hands over your belly if you're taking a picture standing up. If your outfit isn't already, flattering the outfit in a way that's going to make it seem seamless. It's the way that you will have your best side, because this side looks a little more slimmer on this side as opposed to the other side. And of course, if you've done modeling of some sort, you got to make sure we're not looking like this and we're here, and we not having double chin situations and all of that stuff. Like, it really makes you become way more self-conscious as opposed to just being as is. Don't get me wrong, there is a certain level of subconsciousness when it comes to, hey, I want to make sure that I am, of course, looking good. But then there's other parts where it's seeping in your mind based off of things that you were taught that, and a lot of times, are not true. And it's because of the complex that has been developed from those not so pleasant conversations about you to you by people that's supposed to love you, can warp that shit. So I had to get through a lot of insecurities within myself so that I could be comfortable with my body. For example, I, of course, like most chubby kids, unfortunately, I definitely got picked out. I definitely got picked at a lot, for sure, between kindergarten all the way to close to 5th grade. 5th grade is actually when I started cussing out folks. After that, I didn't really get a whole lot of fuss that much afterwards. Afterwards, it was more of like, okay, I can't bully her, but I can jokingly say some shit, and I would get those from time to time. But I let those slide. So that is where I believe a lot of my subconsciousness took place. Thus, my subconscious was taking in things that I was unaware of until later on in my years. And then my confidence had to shine where I least expected it. And then it's just how it has grown with me over the years. When it comes to movement, how I have been able to make peace with myself when it comes to movement. I always have said that I did not have a dance background. I didn't go into doing ballet or tap or anything of the nature that kids usually do. I was not on the dance team or cheerleading squad or any of those things in school. One reason in particular was because of the fact that I, at the time, was considered big, and I didn't want people picking at me because I was on a dance team and plus size. That was the time. This was like early 2000s. So I saw people. I had a friend at the time who actually was bigger than me. And she was on the dance team at my middle school. And baby, just hearing about it, talking about it. Oh my gosh, she's this, she that, she dancing, big, da 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 da. And it terrified me from the idea of what I heard about them talking about my friend. And I want to do that same thing, but I'm too scared as fuck to go through that same thing that she went through. But she did. And she made it the best experience for herself at that time, while I'm just pondering on the idea of it and was like, yeah, if I ever were to do that, I couldn't do it now at that age. So it was one of those things I always wanted to, but I was just like, yeah, I probably never get into that. And then life did its thing and whatnot, and came down to about 2014, 15. Got into movement in a way that was therapeutic and eye-opening for me. But it wasn't until I got into 2017 that I actually really danced. And the first time I really saw me as a dancer was as an amateur. I was doing, I did 2 shows that year for a female review brand at the time. And I had no experience, again, had no experience at all, but I had been talking about it for the longest. And you go to enough dances and you do stuff at your house and all these other different things. And then I also had to realize that I am a very sensual being. And it just kind of connected with, of course, the movement that I was creating and doing at home for the longest before stepping into any polo class. And it just became a thing where I'm like, well, I'm gonna make sure I wear this outfit, I wear these shoes, have my hair this way, have my nails and my toes done, and do the whole shebang and make it happen. So once I did all of that and made me some money, I was able to look back on that like, wow, I did this thing. I did this that was personal in front of these folks I was familiar with. It was pretty cool. It was a great community. And I really made this thing happen and I had the confidence to do it. Shit, I'm gonna probably do this again. And here we are, roughly over 65 showcases and performances later. Yeah. So it is one of those things where magic just kind of shows up in yourself when it comes to confidence. It wasn't where I had to think so much about, okay, my body looks like this. Okay, I need to move this way. I need to do that. Da 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 da. I think the only thing that for me that will kind of show up from time to time, and that's only because it's just what it is. I'm thick. Friction is my inner thighs. Inner thighs got a little melanin to them. That's it. It's not indicating a person's nasty. It's not indicating, of course, that there's a health issue. None of that shit. All those things, of course, check out. That'd be the only thing. Other than that, no. No, I'm very much a person that's just like, you gonna get this body, okay? However you see fit. However, it has been one of those things where over time it becomes a matter of, do I feel my best right now in order to show me at this version of myself? And there be times I'm just like, oh, let me pull back. Maybe I'm not ready. And then the other part of me is like, bitch, if you don't post it, quit playing. And it be like that. Navigating in a world where one particular body type is the most acceptable. I hear the stories from people where they did not feel included in a studio, in a showcase, in their family for that matter, in their social settings, just general people that they fuck with. And where it takes them, it can be where they either shut down altogether and dare not want to be seen, or they can arise above that shit and say, fuck y'all, this is who I am. and benefit off of that. Make that be their niche to say, fuck you, and you're going to continue watching me anyway, whether you like it or not. So here we are. But it, a lot of the times, can be it could be a killjoy. It could be a killjoy from a place of, I just want to exist. Why should I have to exist in a specific type of body in order to be considered accepted? And it just kind of goes back to this Western European expectation of beauty standards. In order for you to be beautiful, you have to fit in these boxes literally. And coming from the fact that, one, I'm a woman, so automatically body's gonna be doing fluctuating things, and there's so many different factors as for why a person is plus size. It's not always food related. It can literally be circumstances, it can be environment, it can be psychological, it could be a plethora of different things. But that my existence in my body should not be up for a debate or approval of anyone in order for me to exist, in order for me to be able to be happy. So, growing into your body, no matter if you were plus size as a kid or you happen to pick on some weight in your teens, 20s, or 30s, or 40s, instead of fighting against it, is really where you will have the most of your peace. And I say fight, not where, oh, I'm trying to lose weight and I'm trying to do this, da, da, da. Not necessarily that type of fighting. Fighting from a perspective of instilling hate within self. Instilling so much hate within self that, say you were to lose weight, however you decide to, that you still have this amount of discuss with yourself, and more than likely discuss with other people that are plus size, that you start talking shit about plus size people as a former plus size person, as a former fat person. That's where you be losing me, because that means that you never really truly gave into loving self right where you were at that time, before you were making changes or while you were doing the things to be able to have the body that you desired. And thus, you had a lot of fight in you that was a little bit more misplaced than anything. Whereas, why fight with yourself when love actually can be more fitting? Love can actually support you through your journey as you are making healthier choices, doing the things necessary to be able to have your body in a place that's for you, whether it's for health reasons, whether it's just for personal reasons, whatever the case be, if you decide to go that route. And fighting it from a place of, I don't like you, so I'm going to change you, is really no different than the people who are doing it on the outside looking in. I'm going to fight you because I don't like what you look like. How insane is that? Like, really, really, of course, hear yourself say that shit, but people really do that, as we have known for quite some time now, as this world has been existing. So, having to really come into a place where your body is not a one size fits all, and neither your body is not a one size fits all, and confidence doesn't fit just one size. You understand? Like, your body is not a one size fits all situation, and confidence fits everybody. It don't have to be a particular size in order to be able to have confidence. And I even had situations where a friend of mine, some years ago, was very much 2021 time, and I was heavy in being out to show people, like, hey, I teach, I do workshops, I do this, I do parties, that whole shebang, and all of that came with it. And I had a friend at the time who hit me up, that I've known for some years, and she was like, hey, I really, of course, just enjoy what you do, and I really would love to have more confidence like you. My mind was like, you have confidence? I figure you automatically have it. And this is why. She was beautiful. She had a petite body, tall, radiance about her. I assumed that she should just automatically have confidence, right? Until she had to explain to me, no, no, I actually don't. It a lot roots is a lot of it is actually deep rooted from how my mom used to talk to me when I was little, and it's just been one of those things where I have never really been as confident as I would like to be. When I tell you my mind was blown from the idea of that, and that, oh, that's right. Even if you may grow up to look like this beautiful person or what society usually likes, it does not entirely mean that you have the confidence as someone would expect you to have because you look like what is acceptable to society. And that really took me for a loop from a perspective of, wow, confidence has a way of building something within a person. But unfortunately, it's almost like people have needed permission to pop their shit, permission to really be as confident as they should feel when it comes to their bodies, when it comes to just existing in the world. And it really put me in this headspace and this journey, more so specifically when I learned about that note that, oh, so this is not something that people just be having. Like you really have to go through a few hoops if it hasn't already been instilled in you. For example, you you have where confidence can be built on you, meaning you had to say go in the gym, go in the gym, you pushing the weights, we of course lifting things, lifting ourselves, we doing the cardios, we doing the protein intake, we doing all the things from a place that feels good for us. Confidence kicks in. You feeling extra sexy, that adrenaline takes in, that dopamine is really dopamine, that bitch me, you feel me? And you're able to really shine in a way that's like, oh, she's radiant, he's vibrant, and all these wonderful things. Confidence is gonna shoot up. Same thing when it comes to being a dancer. If you know for a fact you've been putting in that time, you have done, of course, the pole conditioning, you've been through the bruising, you've had some moments of just sore acheness, not injury, hopefully, and you have practiced, of course, a routine in mind. You've created, of course, how the set's supposed to go from beginning to finish. You have developed your freestyle game on point, because freestyle for some can be a little tricky. You know, you've done a variety of those different things. The hype is one thing, but when that thing is deep rooted and grows and goes somewhere, can't nobody tell you shit. And that's because of the work that you put in with self, the work that you put in saying, hey, we're going to be able to learn this thing. Hey, we're going to be able to have this type of appearance when we show up in the world on whatever aspect that is. And that's where you are not asking for permission. Like, bitch, this is me. This is what I do. This is what I am. And that's what it's going to be. And you can't tell me otherwise. But somebody else would probably come try to tell you otherwise. You know, they, going back to, of course, the backhandedness of confidence that can show up in a way of like, oh, you can do that? Oh, well, if she can do that, I can do this. People don't understand. I've seen that shit so many times on comments, the shares people put on Facebook when they're sharing my videos. I don't always have to say something when I see shit, but it always tickles me because it's like, oh, if she can do it, I know I can do it. It's giving, she's a really, really big bitch doing this. And because she's really big, that means I should be able to because I'm smaller. Or she's this size. We got the same size, so I should be able to do it too. It don't kind of work like that. It don't that confidence don't kind of work like that. It's like if you gonna do the shit, do it. Bottom line, if you really feel like you want to be that person that does it, you do not need any type of validation from nobody, and you say this is a thing that I want to be able to develop a craft in, and say, you know what, I'm gonna work it. Whatever that looks like, then you're gonna go for it. And people definitely assuming that you are only there to just appear sexy versus there's an actual skill in place. There's body forming. There's a way of how you condition your body to be in certain moves. There is core work. There is times that you've had to really sit with yourself and say, hey, why is this important to you? Do you really see yourself as being this person that can do these things? Okay, then let's line out why. Like having those conversations with yourself to be able to say, hey, let's speak life here. Let's find this way that I'm able to get better with my flexibility. Let's put a couple of minutes in about, some stretching, or let's do some drop-ins on a regular basis to make sure that I'm staying on point with, pointing toes or a fan kick or a body roll or eye contact for that matter. Like, people don't understand when it comes to that, if you aren't putting the time in for yourself, it's not going to necessarily come as easy for someone who might just wake up out of bed and boom, I'm here. And then you have some people that can wake up out of my bed and say, boom, I'm here, because they put the time in. So it looks easy. It looks like they just all put together. And in actuality, they had to work their ass off too. So that has definitely been a very big one when it comes to the people that, again, without probably realizing it, and some people definitely do know what they be doing, is proving people wrong even through the underestimating. Because it's very prevalent. It's very prevalent from a place of, okay, because she has this body, she's only limited to doing these things. As opposed to someone who has, of course, a smaller body. Half the time, they probably not doing half the shit I'm doing. But what they are doing is judging me because they can't and won't do the things I'm doing. Like most people, unfortunately. Critics, they have to criticize your ass because they can't do what the hell you do. So, you know. But hey, everybody got a job and they got to fulfill their job. And trolls definitely fulfill their jobs because that's all they know how to do. How to build confidence around a world that is loud with opinions. I had to realize that when I was younger, had this one girl in my second grade class. Oh, that damn girl used to get on my nerves so bad. But she used to talk about my thighs because as a little girl, you may wear shorts from time to time, and shorts that were obviously for school. And because of the fact that even as a little girl, I had these thighs that were definitely extra juicy, I got called the worst. I think the one that used to irritate me so much was dookie legs. That one hit a lot because it made me look at my body and envision that that's what I had. So for years, I'm pretty sure right after that incident, I probably made it a thing to where I really didn't wear shorts to school just to avoid how I felt. Like, nobody ever said anything outside of that person, but because of that, it was where, yeah, I'm purposely making sure I get long dresses, pants, capri shorts, pants, knee knockers, whatever type shit, because I was not confident in my legs at all. And it wasn't until I was about 22, that I wore my first pair of shorts, like in years at that time. And at that time, it was just one of those things where I just got out of a relationship at that time. So that was it. By about 2000, I think. Was it 11? Yeah, 2011. And I was outside, heavy. And that was my thing. At the time, it was like, well, I ain't got nobody. I ain't worried about having nobody. So I'm just going to wear things that I feel like are cool for me. And at the time, I was like maybe a 230, 240 ish, 250, whatever. And it was the first time I ever had was that size at the time of about 15 years ago. And I just didn't think about it. It wasn't one of those things where I was trying so hard to try to like pull shorts down, doing the things like, have a look, you put them on, clearly they out, you just gonna have to deal with what it is for myself. Okay? So if anybody were to say anything to me, I didn't give a damn because I'm just like, well, it's hot, it's July. Something got to breathe. So, and it just kind of grew on me over the years. And to the point where it was just like, you have to have a certain level of filtering with your ears when it comes down to hearing folks that giving opinions that don't matter as well as them themselves don't matter. And to the even to the point where you have to of course shut up your negative talk from a place of, oh, should you have worn that thing today? Oh, your arms is out. Oh, you doing this? Da, 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 da. I've had to tell me to shut the fuck up so many times. At this point, me is just like, look, I'm gonna just back the hell off because this heifer gonna do what she wanna do anyway. And what's the point of us being here to try to tell her not to do the things? Because the voice is gonna try to say, oh, you should do this da, 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 differently. And it's going back to you putting yourself in a box. You're trying to make yourself fit to be acceptable for other folks. Even with something as me wearing shorts for myself. So when I got later on into teaching, child, when I was working at the first studio I worked at, because I taught sensual floor, shit, my attire was a thong, uh, my suspenders. I used to wear them bitches like nothing. It was a thong and suspenders. And actually, I take that back. When I got into teaching, I had two particular people who were of inspiration as for how I wanted to appear when it came to me teaching my classes. Um, I learned about them both in 2014 around the same time. One of them is Monica Wilson, and the other, who I love to this day, is Rashida Convey. The two together for me aesthetically was, for Monica, it was the hair. It was the curly, big hair. It was the oozing of sensuality while also keeping people on their toes because you didn't know what the next thing she was going to do. That's what I really loved and embodied with her. When it came to Rashida, it was the suspenders, it was body, it was the oozing of opulence and how she delivered herself through her virtual classes at the time. And it was unapologetic. And I wanted to convey that for myself when it came to teaching, so that hopefully if I have a student that comes in my class and they probably were not feeling as confident when they came into the room, that shit got boosted when class was over. From the point of, just like you see in most classes, first class, you know, you might have a little, you know, cute little cover up and, you know, maybe some pants and a longer shirt and stuff. And then you get by class 5, 6, 7, ass cheeks is out, You might have a little nip slip because you ain't consider your bra connecting or whatever. You might have, of course, the full lingerie piece on. All the things because of that confidence that you were surrounded by, and it gave you that permission, even though you didn't need it, but it gave you that permission to say, oh, I can appear this way. Oh, I can be sexy this way, and this is okay, and this is the space I can do it in. Boom, I think I like it here though. And that is the case for a lot of people, ultimately. So, yeah, as you can see, that gets me excited. I love that. That is one of my favorite things when it comes to teaching is the community that is being built, but the confidence that is also existing even when opinions are loud as shit. That is absolutely my favorite because that's where transformation takes place. That's where listening to your body and not the noise really is amplified. So, another thing that I definitely do, how to be able to really embody your confidence, that is for me. Even when you say are not having the best of a confident moment, so to speak, how to build confidence, how to enjoy your confidence, even in moments where you may not feel the fullest of sexy or sensual and such. What are some ways that you can be able to really up your confidence? So, number one, have some deep conversations with yourself. Deep and honest conversations with yourself. Meaning, really come to a place of, hey, where did this level of feeling like I can't be confident come from? Did it come from when you were younger? Was it something that you kind of experienced through said relationships, for that matter? Did you have that partner that was telling you things about you, or how you should look, how you should appear, and now you've been trying to fix these portions of yourself in order to be considered acceptable from people that got the same two pair of drawers they've been wearing for the past 2-3 weeks and won't wash them, but somehow you need to change something about yourself. Fuck you, first of all. I just want to put that out there. When it comes to finding out where that comes from, ultimately, having a real deep talk with yourself, writing some things down, kind of really figure out, like, when it comes to your subconscious, what are some things that you think about you that you may or may not be aware of. Process that. Really do a true scan with self to kind of see and check in, like, where does my mind lie when it comes to my awareness of myself, and then how I transform that into how I appear in the world. Then also talk with yourself how you talk and appear into the world, especially, say, on social media. Are you on social media being an asshole to folks who look a certain way and dress a certain way that have no effect at all on your livelihood, but because they existing proudly, you feel the need to want to say something negative to try to shame them? Explore that. I want you to explore, why are you a hater? Truthfully, I want you to do that. And then you have some that's gonna say, I ain't hating. They just need to not do this, and they need to have shame, and she shouldn't wear this, and he shouldn't look like that. Da da da. All I'm saying is that if you have to feel the need to come for somebody that ain't come for you, go sit on a couch, go touch a tree or something, because we need to kind of figure out, why are you this way? Okay? Now, it could really be a situation where somebody is absolutely coming off as a Debbie Downer and don't even realize it, and they need to check themselves. And so they're going to do the things so that they can be like, hey, I'm not a hater, so why am I coming off this way? And really have a deep rooted talk with yourself. For those of you who are like that, yes, I definitely need you to do that. Then go into a place where one thing my therapist told me to do a few years ago that took me about 2 or 3 years to do was she told me to write a letter, a love letter to my tummy. My tummy is something I've had since I was a little kid, just one of those things. And then, of course, I grew up. I did, of course, get smaller at some point, but then eventually I did have my son. And then I lost weight again. And then life, of course, took place. And that's been up and down, up and down. Been through relationships, been through heartache, been through tragedies, grief, all these different things. And my belly, of course, has been with me through literally the ups and the downs and the ups. Again, and having to learn to be more gentle and soft with how I communicated with me, because that made a big connection to how confident I felt in my body, and whether that was by myself, with my partner, how I showed up, of course, in the world as the person that I am when it comes to dance, it makes a difference. Even though for me, there's two different people. There's my government, how I show up, and then there's Jada. Jada is a person that does not really think about any of these things when it comes to what my body looks like. Jada knew what my body looked like when she decided to be Jada. So she's like, well, look, we already here, so we finna go ahead and make the best of it. They booked you for this reason. You signed up and they accepted you. So clearly they like what you do and how you appear. So you might as well show the fuck up and make some shit shake. That's how Jada responds. Whereas my government is just like, all of that. So having to have that letter created so that I can speak to me in that sense, that had to, one, make me apologize to myself that I even was not, that I even spoke of me in this way, even if it was to myself. But because you speak that way to yourself, it's usually going to seep out in different ways. People hear it, your partner might hear it, your kids might, get a whiff of it in their ear and how you move. Certain conversations that you're having with folks online, a lot. It really shows the hell up, whether you realize it or not. And when I started doing that, I then began to be more gentle with how I took care of me when it comes to my belly, and then of course the rest of my entire being. But that one was the biggest thing for sure. One thing that's going to definitely be of a benefit for you when it comes to having these hard conversations when it comes to confidence is getting rid of old, not useful thinking when it comes to you feeling as if confidence has to go with a certain size. Elevate your way of thinking when you come to understand that there are people that are in smaller bodies that are still trying to figure out their confidence because their mother, of course, told them that they were never going to be enough. Their boyfriend or girlfriend, mostly boyfriends, I don't really hear girlfriends do it that much. Then again, fuck that. No, that is true. I had a girlfriend or two that did that stupid shit. We'll get into that bullshit later. Anyway, but in my experience, definitely, of course, boyfriends where they will, say, oh, well, your butt looks better this way when you wear these jeans. Or, you shouldn't wear your hair this way. You should get it this way. I had that happen to me quite a few fucking times. All by motherfuckers who drink nothing but Powerades, thus the insides are practically battery acid at this point. But she got a problem with my booty look like. Shit like that. Yeah. Yeah. Um, Getting rid of the fact that these people have embedded this way of thinking about yourself when their opinions never mattered to begin with, and to understand that more than likely they also have some insecurities within themselves. Because if you wasn't an insecure person, you wouldn't need to have to deflect on someone else. I have never seen a person who is confident as fuck, and I'm talking about truthfully, wholeheartedly, feel the need to have to tear down anybody else. Unwarranted. Unfucking warranted. Now, if you say some shit to me, I might come for you. But to me to just come out and just say some fucked up shit to somebody and you ain't did nothing to me, said nothing to me, yeah, I need to check myself at that point. Because now my insecurities are showing. My way of thinking as if I'm superior or I'm appearing to be superior is slipping. If I feel the need to have to do that to folks. Really, really having to pay attention to folks when it comes to that. And really having to overlook people that move in that way. Because at the end of the day, baby, it's people in the world that got some really deep-rooted issues with themselves that they don't want to face. And then they get online trying to play thug, clickety-clack niggas and shit. And wouldn't bust a grape if they saw you in person. Not nan grape at all. Hell, they be eating the grapes before they'll say anything to you. Do you understand? And a lot of the times, it has nothing to do with you. Most of the time, has nothing to do with you. So having to get past those weird ways of people when it comes down to confidence and how people want to come in to try to destroy yours because you're appearing in a way that is just like a shock to them. Like, oh my God, why is she this way? Oh, she shouldn't have this confidence. Oh, she shouldn't look like that and be this confident. Ugh, she did that because apparently she got the confidence. Da, da, da. If you don't stop being backhanded as fuck, knowing good goddamn well you saying that shit in a disrespectful manner, I'm gonna thump the shit out you. Because why? Like, let a person be awesome in what they do without it having to be backhanded as fuck just because they're curvy. That's just what that is. And it's okay. And it has a lot to do with this narrative that has been spoken over, oh Jesus, the years of being the butt of jokes, the pun to a lot of, weird descriptions of what a plus size person is. Oh, they eat so much. They always hungry. They always thinking of food. They smell. They look disgusting. They appear in a way that's just so like, ugh, who would want to date them? Oh, ain't nobody gonna take them seriously. Oh, they just want her for her income taxes. Or she must cook real good. And oh, she just wants somebody to be up under her, so she gonna take care of them because she big and she can't get no better. Child, please. First of all plus size people do not cook. All plus size people are not fucking easy. Plus size people are actually the most smelling good people in the world. Trust me. If you've been around me and got a hug out of me, you got some of this love all over your body. Please understand that, okay? Eating goes back to people being plus size is not always because of food. There's other reasons why a person, of course, is plus size. Narrowing it down to just that is pretty much just minimalizing a plus size person based off of what you appear to think. Thus, the conversations of, oh, you should get on the treadmill. Oh, you should work out. Da 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 da. One of the stupidest things I've ever seen what people do is while a plus size person is posting about them doing something that requires them to be active, running, lifting weights, me dancing, me being upside down on my inversion chair, all things that can make a bitch sweat. Okay, it's, well, if she put her energy into actually losing weight and she can do this and she just say you a hating ass bitch and keep it moving. Because again, why are you here? And in all of those instances, a person has been confident. They may not have felt their best, but they damn sure, of course, is giving the confidence as if they were. And they're making themselves become a better version of themselves. And you're seeing it as it goes, and you still have something to say. Like, do you know how ass backwards that is? Again, go touch a tree and get on somebody's couch because you're dysfunctional doing that stupid shit. Anyway, so one of my favorite, all-time favorite things to do when it comes to confidence for me, you can build confidence in a different way. The way that, of course, people can build confidence, the way people can appear confident depends on things that they value the most. It can be in how they dress. It can be in how they do their hair. It can be through skincare, makeup. For me, it's definitely perfume. Perfumes, the lotions, the oils, all the shebangs. That is my way of appearing confident. Meaning, I could be in a performance setting. I could be in my 9 to 5. I could be at home about to go to bed. I could be going to the grocery store, going to one of my kids' doctor's or dentist appointments. Nothing else is going to matter if I don't smell good. Okay? That has been one of my things, one of my aesthetics, how I appear in the world. And it is just something that lights me up because it is one of my rituals. It's just no different than, of course, obviously brushing your teeth, combing your hair, putting on lotion. Especially, of course, because it's cold outside. You don't want to be damn ashy. Like, it's those things. So being able to go from having a really awesome shower routine, from the lathering to the exfoliating and the scrubbing and all those things down, stripping down all the way to my body powder that I've made, to the oils that I'll put on selectively, because of course I still teach, so I can't be too damn oily all the time. So I got certain areas I can put them on, to the lotions that I'll wear, to the layering of my perfumes, from the body mist, to the 2 to 3 oils that I'll usually rub on, to my doppler oil, and then of course my main perfume, my main coup de grace perfume, that is usually the smell of a rich bitch. So having those things in that order and showing up in the world, whether it is hugging people, being, of course, next to somebody in a line, whatever the case being, bitch, you gonna smell me. That's my way of being able to show up in confidence. Granted, I'm not looking like any old thing. However, you know, if I'm going to the grocery store, I'm not trying to go to a fashion show. I'm in my simplicity, but simplicity or not, you're going to smell good. And of course, the usual, oh my God, what are you wearing? What's this and what's that? Because of the fact that I have a combination of things, I just like my essence. My essence. That's all you can say. Because ain't nobody got that combo anyway. Because that's something that's unique to me. That's something that's unique to my being and my current feel goods of me at that time. Because it changes, of course. So that is how I show up in a way that is confidence, and then everything else just blooms. Because there's no way in hell I'm gonna just be, perfumed down and just look. Mm, I'm not gonna do that. So it is my way of showing up and coming into a space that assures that I'm not shrinking for nobody. I'm not in this place where I have to, like, hey y'all, how y'all doing? And I'm succumbing to this being in a corner situation when I could set the tone. So I started with my glamour of self, and then it just adds on from there, from the attire to the hair to the makeup, if anything. Hell, even my glasses can be sexy. It just depends. Um, to what I wear when I go teach, to what I wear when I go perform, to what I wear when I do, of course, my spicy content. All the things. All the things that matter when it comes to my level of confidence for me. So, to take away from that, I do challenge you to send yourself a love letter, in addition to all the things else that I, of course, have mentioned when it comes to how does one tap into a certain level of confidence for self. Your body is not an apology. However, you need to apologize to your body. If you have spoken to yourself in a way that has not been uplifting, understand that that way of thinking has to change in order for that level of confidence to seep in through your entire being. Okay? So, as I said before, you don't necessarily need permission to pop your shit, but I am going to invite you to give yourself permission. And please take these in. However, if you need to watch this little portion or hear this portion on repeat, get a little segment of it to play back in your mind, on your phone, whatever the case being. But I want you to take these in, okay? Give yourself permission to take up space, permission to be confident and self-conscious without shame, permission to walk into rooms where no one looks like you and you still be the star, permission to redefine what confidence feels like in your own skin, permission to choose one ritual this week that reconnects you to your magic. So whether that is through perfume, that is how you talk to yourself, that is you writing your letter, that is you putting on a certain type of outfit, that is you putting on a certain type of music and recording yourself doing any and everything that feels good and sensual and sexy for you. I give you permission to do that and connect with yourselves, and permission to stop comparing confidence across sizes, shapes, aesthetics, and bodies overall. And I give you permission to tell yourself that it's okay to be the shit in this current body. You have that. You absolutely have that. And if you don't have it for yourself, make sure you give it to somebody else. Meaning this information I just gave, if you ain't able to receive it just yet, give it to somebody else who probably is. But I hope that you definitely receive this. May not be today, might be a couple of weeks down the line, but that is okay. So to understand that confidence isn't the absence of fear or doubt or softness. It is decision to move anyway. Move your body however you decide to. And for me as a dancer, I decided to move. I decided to be graceful in how I exist. I decided to say fuck you in how I appear into the world. And I hope eventually you decide to do the same. So, as always, I appreciate y'all for being here and rocking with me. This particular episode was very personal. It was very sentimental because I know what it's like to have some insecurities within self, but then I also know how to make my insecurities shine at the same time. And that is one of my superpowers, I like to say. So at this time, thank you so much for being with me. And as always, I am your host, Jaded Pearl. Thank you for being a part of this episode at Jaded and Faded Convos. And I will see y'all again. Be easy.